Oh God, Jason. Brandon had fallen into a shallow trench, and he felt like his leg had just broken. Jason immediately climbed down to his side and helped Brandon to a safe place. Man, what have you done? You're seriously injured, dude, Jason said as he checked the leg. The duo were both adventurous spirits, so when they decided they needed a break from day-to-day life, they decided to go on a climbing trip together. However, the trip had barely even begun before Brandon had broken his leg. Jason inspected his wounded friend, taking in his sickly pallor and heavy breathing. Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere. Dude, just wait here. I'll get some help from town. We're not that far from it. Jason propped him up under a tree and started walking towards the town. Sitting there dejectedly, Brandon cursed his luck. He had so looked forward to this getaway, and for it to be cut short so soon seemed like a curse. It's okay, buddy. Can try again next year, Brandon said, trying to cheer himself up, and shut his eyes. What if you don't have another year? Brandon's eyes shot open. Someone had whispered in his ears. He looked everywhere around him and became tense. He took stock of his situation. Alone and crippled in the woods, it didn't look good. Brandon's senses became heightened as the adrenaline coursed through his veins, and he started observing everything. What was that? The wind suddenly picked up speed and the temperature seemed to drop considerably. Something in the air felt like it was gathering, and after only a few minutes, a relentless storm started. Quicker than he could blink, snow was everywhere. The storm was fierce, yet brief, as it stopped just as suddenly as it had begun. Brandon was trembling with cold, but what appeared before him got him sweating. He heard footsteps on the ice, but Brandon could not see what was making them. Footprints appeared in the snow, one laid right after the other, heading in his direction. Jason was about to reach town, but the storm had caught up with him as well, and he had to stop beside a tree. He looked around, trying to get his bearings, when he saw someone sitting under another tree. Jason walked slowly toward the figure and shouted, "Hey, want some help?" As soon as the person turned back, Jason freaked out. "Brandon? You're here?" Brandon said nothing and stood up without difficulty. Jason looked at his leg, which showed no visible sign of injury. Jason's brain was reeling as he wanted to ask a million questions, but his sixth sense warned him that something was wrong. Brandon walked closer to Jason and whispered, "We shouldn't have come here." Jason skipped right over scared and went straight to terrified as he felt himself rooted to the spot. It sounded like Brandon, but there was something else there, hidden just under the surface, a kind of doubling effect that made Jason feel sick. "It's your last trip." As soon as Jason registered what Brandon said, he screamed and started running. He looked behind him while running, but Brandon wasn't chasing him. Suddenly, he collided headlong into an obstruction in front of him and stopped dead in his tracks. It was Brandon, smiling horrifically. He smashed his forehead against Jason's and then jumped on Jason's chest. Jason was howling and trying to throw Brandon off of him, but Brandon put his fist into Jason's mouth and started smashing his head against the rocky ground. Brandon felt surrounded by someone invisible. He could only hear and see the footsteps on the ice. "Brandon," someone whispered again. the whisper appeared to trigger a gust of wind, kicking up a dusting of snow. And when it settled, a shrouded figure materialized from the flurry and advanced forward. Brandon blinked stupidly when he recognized the form. Jason, you came back? Why didn't you get help? Brandon sputtered. Jason smiled and came closer. It's your last trip. Brandon felt his blood freeze when he saw Jason's face morph into a horrific spirit. He held Brandon's head and turned it hard till it cracked.
Subscribe today or beware.